It's NAB 2025. We are in Southall and we're on the Netgear booth. I'm joined by John. Hi, John. How you doing?
Doing great, Simon. Good to see you again.
Always good to see you, John. Now, John, we're talking about the 3Ps: people, products, and partners.
Yes, we are.
In this video, we're talking about products and how the name Netgear is becoming more well-known in the broadcast industry after all we're at NAB.
Yep, definitely. We've made a good name in commercial AV for years with our really focused approach on AV. We're doing the same thing for broadcast now.
Okay.
So what we do is make profiles with all these different manufacturers. We'll talk about partners later.
Yep.
But we make sure that it's easy to configure.
Okay.
So our products have a built-in AV OS,
Yep.
I call it, through the Engage software to be able to configure a switch for ST2110, let's say, in like 5 seconds.
Right.
So what might take you actually days or weeks of configuring a bunch of switches for the boundary clock and grandmaster and transparent clock, we can do in about 10 seconds, literally. So that's saving people a lot of time, a lot of money, of course, as well. But that's why we're here at NAB.
So all the user interface that people at home may have been used to over the last 30 years or so, you're bringing that ease of use into our industry.
Yeah, somewhat. It's really separate divisions. So our home division is kind of separate products and everything else. And our business division, the AV side of it, if you will, really started seeing the use of our switches in these applications and created a whole new way of thinking about configuring a switch. So it's a brand new way of thinking about configuration.
And are you bringing new products to NAB this year?
Yes, we are always. There's always something new, right?
Yeah, of course.
So switches have been out for a little while. The newest thing for us here is our Engage software that I'm talking about. And part of that is that configuration. Where we can add new profiles as we add new manufacturing partners, but also just make it easier and make it more reliable to configure the switches through our Engage software.
So John, show us a little bit inside Engage.
So with Engage software, in this particular demo, we have a couple of switches, and you can see they're configured there. If they weren't already onboarded, we could click them and onboard them. We could update firmware and things like that. But I'm talking about the profiles and a lot of the goodness here of Netgear Engage. I click on one switch. I can do it for multiple switches too if I wanted to. And over here you see network profiles. So we can scroll down and see whatever video or audio profile we're doing. If we had a 2110 capable switch to set up the boundary clock, that would appear here as well as a profile, but we don't have that in this little demo unit. So let's say we want to do some Dante audio. So I see audio Dante, click the gear icon, select the ports. Let's say it's plugging into ports 1 and 2. I have my Dante devices plugged in. I want to give it a name. I'll call it, how about Dante? And give it a VLAN ID so we can segregate that traffic onto those ports. From those ports onto the Dante network, Dante VLAN. I can give it a color too, so I can come in here and say, these Dante ports on the interface here will show green. I'm a little colorblind, but I think that's green.
That's green, yep.
And then we hit apply. And that's all I have to do to set up the switch. Now it's going through all the menus and setting up whatever it needs to be configured for Dante. And you see the first 2 ports are green. It says Dante down here, and we see it's VLAN 39, and we're done. That's it. That's how easy it is to configure a port. It'd be the same thing for 2110 or for any other kind of AV over IP flavor.
And what are some of the biggest challenges that your customers are having in this industry?
I think it's just configuration. So there's some switches that are used in these applications that are command line only, which some people love. They get their script, they shove it in there. But if you're not sure why something's dropping some packets here and there, or if something's configured right or wrong, then it's kind of hard to find that out. So for us, it's configuration and making that easier, but also more reliable. And that's what we do for Netgear.
Fantastic. Where can people find out more information about your products, John?
Easy for general, netgear.com/AV, but also you can go to netgear.com/broadcast.
Okay, cool. We're going to be speaking a little bit more about people and partners. Yes. Until then, look at everything else we've been doing at NAB on kitplus.com.